Alright, so this is how to train Jiu Jitsu for your body type. This is going to be the video on the small guys. So, my name, Gil Alcocer. I started training Jiu Jitsu back in 2008. I opened my own academy, JJI, the Jiu Jitsu Institute, back in 2018. And I received my black belt from the Mendez brothers in 2019. Alright, so like I said, body type, small. So this one isn't going to be as subjective as some of the other ones, because you can't be short and thin. That's what small guys are. They're going to be shorter and thinner, just smaller overall. So, and we go by weight classes when we compete. So if you're at rooster weight, you can't be shorter and thinner than your opponent. Like, the weight has to come somewhere. You're fighting in the same weight class. So they're just going to be overall smaller. Someone left a comment asking about the the hobbits. So yeah, I guess like hobbit people, just very small. These are gonna be rooster weights. I would say light feathers. Maybe you could kind of push a featherweight in there, but that'd be pushing it a little bit. So within your weight class, you won't be small, and when you're getting down to rooster and light feather, there isn't going to be too much variance in the height anymore at that point. Like your height and thickness, you just have to make the weight. You have to weigh that somewhere, so there's not going to be a whole lot of variance. If you are shorter or taller within your weight class of the rooster weight, then you can refer to the other videos as far as like how to go, whether you're taller than average or thicker than average for your weight class. All right, so we'll start with like how to train. So when training in the academy, I would just suggest, if you're very small, just avoid the giant guys. Like, there's really no reason to take that risk. It's going to be so much more likely to accidentally get hurt. You could get hurt completely by accident, not like accidentally in a technique, but just complete accident. Like a bigger guy, you trip them up, you're under their feet, getting in between their legs, they kind of stumble and they fall and they drop a knee on your shoulder or your elbow or something like that, and then you're injured, and that wasn't even like technique. But then there's also still a higher chance of getting injured from a technical move, like just going harder. So being like the rooster weights, they tend to always be the most technical guys. They don't have the strength to overcome. They got a little bit of speed, but they don't have weight behind them. So they just tend to be, they have to rely more on the technique to win. They get technically better, just like average compared to like each weight class. They're just considered more technical overall. And they're usually going to be flexible too. So if you add in going with a bigger guy and you're better than him, technically better than him, and you're very flexible and you're shutting down everything he does, that leads to frustration, and that's a very, very common precursor to an injury. I'm not saying like the bigger guy intentionally injures the smaller guy, but they intentionally will turn it up. They want to go harder. They don't want to lose, and they have more left in the tank because they're probably start off holding back a little bit with a small guy, and then when you can't beat him and you're getting frustrated, then they turn it up more and more and more, and then that just leads to a better, when there's that big size difference, it just leads way more likelihood of an injury. And again, it's just pointless. Small guys, you don't really get anything out of it. Big guys don't really get anything out of it either. But the small guys definitely, I would say, don't. Like, you'll hear someone say the argument about like, oh, what if you get in a street fight with the big guy, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's just stupid. If you get in a street fight and you have to fight a big guy, you're going to do what you know, and you're going to try to beat them, and you're probably going to beat them. Odds are on the street they've never trained before, so you already have that giant advantage. Odds are you're going to win, and you're still going to get injured. It's a street fight. So if you're going to win anyways, more than likely, what's going to pay more in the gym? Is it training every single day super consistently, getting better and better and better technically? Or is it going to be like, oh, there's 0.0001% chance I'm going to get in a fight with a big giant guy in the street. So let me roll this big giant guy over here. Then you get injured, and then you miss 6 months of training. Like, what's going to pay off better? It's such a stupid argument in my opinion. All right, so like the lanky guys, small guys are going to primarily be guard players. Being the smaller one, the bigger guys will generally want to be on top, and they'll win those takedown battles. It's just again, strength. They're gonna be able to muscle that in the beginning, and then that's what they prefer, and this is how it starts. And then day one, that's how it starts on day one. So even as the smaller athlete gets better, where are they getting better at? They're getting better at playing guard. So then it becomes a spot that they're good at. They feel safe. It's a comfort zone, and they prefer it, so they stick with it. Most people just stick with what they're good at, and that was the position they were kind of forced to play, and they got good at it. Small guys are usually just flexible. Shorter legs and flexibility leads to being good at the open guards. So by open guards, I mean like all the guards that aren't specifically closed guard. I don't really see any guard being unplayable because you're going to be sticking with people near your weight class. You're not going to go too far above your weight class in training if you're training correctly, in my opinion. So unless you have one of the attributes of short and stocky or long and lanky within your weight class, which like I said is going to be more rare at rooster weight and light feather, then you're going to have like proportions of more of like an average body type. So you'll be able to do everything basically. Now maybe if you're a rooster weight and you're fighting someone who's featherweight or maybe even up to lightweight, then closed guard gets harder to play with that specific person. But when you're fighting another rooster weight, closed guard is usually not going to be an issue. So you just need to adjust based on size for training a little bit. De La Riva, X guard, butterfly guard, invert De La Riva, all the different types of half guards. These are all like really good choices. You just need to train and adapt them to like your body, your situation, how you want to play. Because obviously, 5'4" versus 6 foot guy playing inverted De La Riva isn't going to be exactly the same. Or like De La Riva, for instance, is a better example. Like I love De La Riva. I'm 6 foot tall, pretty long legs. I like hips to the mat. Like grab my opponent, take him over to the left, hips to the mat, and that's how I start most of my De La Riva game, which is mostly berimbolo type stuff. But a smaller guy might have problems taking them, pulling them in, and then shooting them off to the left. But I don't like going to the right side when I'm playing De La Riva with my left leg as the hook. I don't like going to the right side as much when I'm going in between the legs. That's where I feel lost, and my length is like a detriment. It holds me back. It makes it harder to fit there. They get grips on me pretty easily. But a smaller guy, they're going to stay compact, go in between the legs. So we're both playing De La Riva, but completely different ways. The small guys typically going to be a little quicker, smaller bodies, lighter weight. It's just easier to move around. Same exact thing when it comes to their cardio. The same thing. The smaller, lighter bodies, it's just going to work your heart less blood to pump through. And so they tend to be faster and have better cardio. So I'm not saying that like I lean towards speed passing for this body type, but they can definitely use the speed passing, especially as they go a little outside of their weight class with bigger guys. Like Rodolfo Vieira, he's not a rooster weight by any means. He's a big dude, but he kind of played the same style. Like even though he's a pressure passer, he would start with some speed pass and just get ahead of your opponent, like 2 or 3 steps ahead of them, and then bam, then they drop down, get really tight, clamp down on their opponent, and start the pressure passing. So especially when they're fighting someone bigger than themselves, I think that's a great approach to get started. But I still do think, even for roosteroids, the pressure passing is the way. It's the better investment overall. And then sometimes you're going to fight, if you're rooster weight and you're way faster than this like lightweight guy, or maybe if you're even going up to like a middleweight guy, you just know you're faster than him, and he's just whatever reason sits down and plays guard. Then the path of least resistance with the size gap, you might just know it's going to be really easy to get a quick leg drag, bam, knee on belly, you're past the guard. Like there's nothing wrong with that either. Being smaller, it also means like you can be extra tight. So if I get side control with my long legs and not being super flexible, there's more space. I can't close in and get super tight, bringing my knees up high, elbows deep in my legs, and closing all that space away. Outside of me personally not being super flexible, that leaves more space. I'm just longer, so there is more space. There just literally is more space. Being smaller, there's less space. They can get tighter and make everything super tight. So that's going to be a benefit for them. Like pressure passing, like get in the perfect exact spot, put your head position, your grips, everything in the perfect spot, and then there's no room. There'll be no room to like wiggle around. On the other side of that, you are small, so the bigger guys, they're going to be able to, not that I recommend this, but it's going to happen is they'll just literally bench press you off of them, like just kind of throw you off of them with pure power at times. And that's a con to being small. It's like no way around it. It's just better to be bigger in general, I would say. But with that, you just have to learn to adapt when people explode. And I see small people get good at this quick. I feel like it's pretty easy for them. The thing is, like let's say you're holding a super tight, strong side control, and the big guy goes to bench you and throws you off overhead. So instead of squeezing tighter and tighter and tighter, like trying to fight strength for strength when you don't have the body weight, like it doesn't matter how tight you hold here, they're still picking your body up off the ground. So instead of doing that, you learn to instinctively loosen up and kind of ride it. So as they explode this way, you let go, let them go that way, and then you're on the back, or you're taking that arm from the arm bar. This is like side control example. But you just have to kind of like learn to ride the explosions, and then they'll turn into your advantage, because big, strong bench press, don't get me wrong, here and there I'll do it with someone who's really good, but I'm a black belt also, so I've taken all my skills up to that level where in emergencies I can do stuff like that. But at the lower level, they're probably gonna, more than likely, they're gonna give you something in that big explosion, like something technically wrong, so you're gonna be able to jump on that. As far as competition goes, so most smaller guys, they, like I said, all the stuff about why they play guard, they just get used to playing the guard. And then in competition, you'll see at rooster weight and light featherweight, a lot of matches at like IBJJF, the highest level, is double guard. I will say I think this is slowly changing, more takedowns and more top position, but still a lot of double guard. And then when I was coming up, this was definitely the situation. Me personally, I have no problem with double guard most of the time. Like if you're being technical and there's real jiu-jitsu going on there, I like it, I understand it. I'd much rather watch two little technical guys doing technique and double guard than two big fat dudes who've never wrestled or done judo in their life trying to do a takedown in competition, just because in training they're always on top. So I never understood why people hated on the double guard so much more, but never said a word when guys will spend 10 minutes with black belts, 10 minutes on their feet with like day one white belt level wrestling and judo. No problem with that, but whatever. Side topic. But within the double guard pool, there is also the situation where one or both opponents, they aren't trying to win. They're trying to slow the match down. They'll get to 50-50 from double guard. They'll wrap a lapel around their leg now. That's a big one. And so the lapel 50-50, and then nothing happens. That I do hate and I don't agree with. I don't know the exact answer to it right now, but like I would not promote that at all. I don't think that's good jiu-jitsu. But anyways, as far as spectating goes, most people do not like watching double guard. So in that, there's an opportunity. You can stand out and you can be different. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before, but this idea before, but you can focus on wrestling to make sure you're on top. So you go out there and you get good at wrestling, you take them down, now you're on top. But you don't even really need to focus on wrestling that much. Obviously, you want to do some wrestling so you're not completely lost out there, but like I said, most guys are doing double guard, so most guys are going to pull guard, and then you don't even have to wrestle. You're just on top for free. It costs you nothing. No takedown, no energy. You didn't get 2 points, but they're down on the bottom. And then if you've invested in the guard passing, then you can, that's the opportunity. You get to stand out and be different from the average guys at the smaller weight classes right there who like to play guard. With that, then you have the choice of how you're going to pass. You're going to be a speed passer or a pressure passer. Again, like I pretty much 98% of the time, I'm going to promote the pressure passing over the speed passing. So if a little guy is in training, and all the videos I've talked about before about speed passing versus pressure passing and how instinctively most people just start to speed pass. Pretty much everyone starts with speed passing, and a lot of people will stick with the speed passing. So if you just think about like the smaller guys, they're light, they're more than likely going to be like fast twitch style. And then so in training, when you are rolling and someone decides to play top and they go to pass, just the odds are they're going to be speed passing the whole time. So then if you're a lighter weight class and you're playing guard and you're good at guard, usually what you see from the bottom is the speed passing. So that's what you're most equipped to fight. So if you decide to be the smaller guy doing pressure passing, you're going to tax their muscles and their guard and their mind just thinking through stuff. You're going to tax it way more with pressure passing because this is going to be more rare to them. It's going to be more of a like trying to figure it out, causes anxiety, wastes more energy. They're not as efficient in their movements because they're not used to it. And then also with the efficiency part is like most of them being the faster twitch, you put them into a scenario where they have to use slow twitch style, that's going to exhaust them more. That's just not what they're equipped for because most of them are training with like speed in mind. So again, I think like the pressure passing is definitely the way to go. And standing out, if you want to create like a brand, get some social media, like clout, that type of stuff, you will stand out. Standing out is good when you want, I mean, obviously you want to stand out in a good way, but so learn to cook them, learn to neutralize the flexible guard, which speed passing, it never neutralizes anything. You're relying on the speed to get around. But pressure passing, you're going to figure out how to shut down the flexible type of stuff once you put enough time into it, which again is going to be better. In my opinion, it's way better. And then this is exactly what my professor, Guy Mendez, this is what he did. He obviously stood out, 4-time black belt world champion, retired Hall of Famer. And that's what he did. Everyone was doing double guard. He just came up on top, and he was extremely mobile. Like his joints, tendons and ligaments, super flexible, crazy flexible. So he used that, adapted it to his pressure passing, passed everyone's guard, and then it was, most of the time, it was just honestly pretty easy for him. So if you want to check out some of like a more amazing smaller guys, like I said, Guy Mendez, my coach. If you're not extremely mobile like him, he might not be the single best example. You can still learn a lot lesson-wise, though, just thought-wise from him. The best one, if you just want to come at it from like no attributes, just purely technical, Caio Terra. He was a roosterweight black belt world champ. Super technical. Like his answer to everything was an actual technical answer. It was never about like, oh, let me go faster. Oh, let me get stronger. Let me move. Let me do this more. It was always like learn the answer, figure out the answer from a technical point of view. And then Bruno Malfacini, can't leave him out. 10-time black belt world champ at roosterweight, most winningest roosterweight of all time. He's a little bit different. I think he is a super athlete. Like he can do speed passing. I could recommend speed passing for him. Like if I were his coach or whatever. But also he was also like known. Like I heard multiple people talk about he's a roosterweight, but he feels like 300 pounds when he's on top pressure passing. So he could do it all. Super athlete, but super technical. He could do it all. Great person to watch and check out. All right, so this went a little longer expected on the small guy video. I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. But I think this is going to be, I think we got one more video left in the series, and it's not going to be a specific body type. It's just going to be kind of like a culmination of, I'll just kind of hit all the basic like attributes. So whether you're super big, whether that be round or muscular, whether you're super flexible, whether you're super inflexible, things like that, just kind of how you should approach it. But I think I hit all the basic body types. If I missed any, you want to hear anything else, then leave a comment, let me know, and I'll try to make sure to incorporate that. But yeah, I think we got one more left, and it's going to be just those attributes. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you see that last episode of the series. And then the last couple episodes or videos in this little series are doing much better. So if you're watching these and you like them, go check out the older ones too. They're just as good. It's just, I guess I'm getting more subscribers, getting better at the descriptions and stuff, so I'm just getting more views. So go check out those other ones for me if you would. And then again, yeah, just let me know if I missed anything.